From broken English to fluent English. When I was 20, I could understand some English, but not much. My vocabulary was very limited, my accent was very strong, and I first thought in my language, then translated into my own version of English to speak to people. The problem was people couldn't understand me. In short, my English was bad. I thought, I will either find a way or make one. The desire for change grew as I wondered what kind of jobs I could get if I could only speak translated, broken English with a strong accent. That inspired me to start looking for opportunities to improve my English fluency. How amazing is that? I thought. But there was a problem. Fluent English Mr. Wang only offered one-on-one private lessons, and I didn't have the money. By the way, a private lesson at the time was $30 per hour. I wondered what Fluent English Mr. Wang did to get that kind of result, but I didn't call him because I thought he wouldn't tell me anyway. Then I thought, if he can find a way to do it, I can find a way to do it too. So, I started by reading books from the library on English fluency. All of the books I intentionally picked were written by native speakers because I thought I should learn from the natives. There were lots of words I didn't know, but I looked them up in the dictionary. I started applying these strategies, and I could understand a little more English, but the strategies didn't make me speak any better. So I kept reading books. Again, all were written by native speakers, but they all said pretty much the same things. I kept reading and reading. As far as I can remember, I read a total of about 60 books all written by native speakers, and they all said almost the same things. The strategies were ineffective. So, I tried a different approach. Instead of picking books written by native speakers, this time, I chose books written by successful non-native English speakers who had made their English fluent. I picked and read about 10 of them. To my surprise, all the books said the same things as the 60 books written by native speakers. Except for one thing, repeat what you hear again and again. This advice wasn't mentioned in any of the 60 books written by native speakers at all. Out of the list of 60 books written by native speakers, only one was very useful. This book wasn't about how to speak fluent English. Instead, it was about how to become successful. It was written by Tony Robbins. I came across that book and wondered for 3 seconds whether or not to take it. At the last moment, I decided to take it, just to see if it had anything useful. To my surprise, it turned out to be a great book on how to set goals and become successful. The perfect opportunity. I was 20 at the time, living in the Brooklyn area of New York City. Every day, I took the subway to and from Manhattan. The trip took 40 minutes each way, with a 12-minute walk to the train station from home and a 5-minute walk from the train station to work. Altogether, a round trip took an hour and 54 minutes each day, which created a perfect opportunity for me. I brought my Walkman with me, and while on the way to work and back, I would usually listen to English lessons or sometimes songs. But after reading those 10 books by non-native speakers and working out my strategy, I decided to use my Walkman to try my new strategy: repeat what you hear again and again. Taking action during these round trips, I first tuned into NPR National Public Radio to listen to the news. This worked well during the 12-minute walk to the train station, but once I entered the station, the signal was lost. When I got home at night, I started recording the news on a tape for the next day so that I could listen to it on the train. After that, I recorded fresh news every night. I started by whispering the news, but soon I began saying it louder. The New York subway trains were as noisy as thunder, which created the perfect opportunity for me to practice without disturbing anyone. No one around could hear me over the noise. This meant I got to practice speaking English for the entire train ride both ways. At first, there were many words I didn't understand, but I repeated them anyway. The news was too fast for me initially, but I repeated what I heard, even if I couldn't keep up. Often, when there was a word or phrase I couldn't say, I would rewind the tape and listen to it again. This time, I only listened carefully. If I still couldn't say it, I would rewind the tape again and listen until I could say it. Then I would repeat the word or phrase once, twice, 3 times, until I could say it correctly. This practice helped me a lot. The next time I heard that same word or phrase, I could say it correctly. 3 months later, I decided to record myself speaking to see how much I had improved, because at least 3 people had told me that I spoke good English. So, I wrote down some daily conversational phrases and recorded my voice saying them. To my surprise, I did speak what I wrote down pretty fluently. I could still hear my accent, but it was much lighter compared to other ESL learners. My English was even better. Excited by the results, I decided to adjust my approach slightly. The first change I made was to record the news just once a week, then listen and practice with the same recording all week long. At the beginning of the week, there was almost always something I couldn't say. By the end of the week, I'd mastered everything on the tape. I could even nearly recite it, including the words, sentences, tone, and flow. The next week, I recorded a new tape and repeated the process for the entire week. After a month, I had mastered 4 tapes of English from native speakers. On week 5, I went back to review the previous 4 weeks' recordings, practicing 1 tape each day. For the remaining days of the week, I focused on tapes I'd had the hardest time with. Within a month, I'd mastered 4 tapes of native English, each tape being 60 minutes long, totaling 240 minutes of English. The result? 3 months later, as you may have guessed, I recorded myself again. The results were astonishing. My accent was nearly gone, my voice was clear, my pronunciation was correct, and my flow was smooth. In other words, my English was fluent. It had taken 6 months of dedicated practice, but the results were overwhelming. After talking to a friend on the phone, he suddenly asked, "What did you do?" I said, "Huh? What do you mean?" He replied, "Your English, it's good." I could tell that the word good came from his heart. His tone was so sincere that I felt the energy of his compliment. 2 of my cousins, both native speakers, even asked, "How come your English is so good, but your brothers and sisters are not?" Continuing the effort. I didn't stop there. For months and years afterward, I continued using my strategy whenever I found opportunities. Even as my situation changed, I kept practicing. Years later, I developed yet another strategy I called open throat, which I'll explain in the next chapter. When speaking English with the open throat strategy, my English sounded absolutely 100% native. When my son was in 1st grade, he invited me to be a guest reader for his class. His teacher looked worried at first, probably thinking I didn't speak English well and that it would be disastrous for her class. However, when I began to read, I saw her eyes widen in surprise, followed by a big smile. She watched quietly as I read the book with enthusiasm, speaking with 100% native fluency. Then, she jumped into action, pulling out her camera and taking pictures. She even interrupted to ask if she could include a photo in the class newsletter. Later, she asked if I could participate more in her class activities. How fluent, 1 word native. This strategy, which I later developed, brought my fluency to the next level. I call it the open throat strategy. When practicing, open your throat, talk from your diaphragm, and bring energy from your stomach. This energy flow and way of speaking make a huge difference. To do this, open your throat, let the air flow through, and speak with energy from your core. You should feel your stomach tighten when you speak, bringing energy up from deep in your stomach, letting air flow from your lungs through your open throat. After my daughter joined her school chorus class, she told me that her chorus teacher taught the class about open throat. The teacher explained, "Have you ever seen anyone sing with their throat? Singing like that is called chicken throat. It's far from good. Are you too nervous or shy to speak English? Are you speaking with chicken throat because you're afraid of making mistakes or that others may laugh at you? Listen to me, English is a foreign language to you, so making mistakes is perfectly normal. Instead, open your throat to speak English. Use my fluent English formula to make you sound like a native. Practice it for 6 months, and when you're speaking fluently, even native speakers will be amazed." My fluent English formula. The formula for speaking English fluently has 3 steps. 1. Set your goal. 2. Take action. 3. Follow through. Step 1. Set your goal. Setting your goal is deciding what you want. By getting this book, you've already taken the first step towards speaking English fluently. The word decide comes from Greek, meaning to cut off from. When you decide what you want, you cut off any other possibilities and focus only on your goal. Imagine setting a target. Clarity is power. The clearer you are about what you want, the more precisely your mind will take you toward it. When I decided to speak fluent English, I set that as my target. With a target in sight, I knew exactly where to go and what to work on, even in my spare time. If your goal is to speak English fluently, or even like a native, focus on it. This focus is crucial. Step 1 is setting your target. Step 2. Take action. Once your target is set, take out your bow and arrows and shoot. Setting a target is one thing, but getting results means taking action. It doesn't matter what we can do, it matters what we will do. Look at these two situations. 1. I have the potential to speak fluent English, a college degree in IT, and a graduate degree in space studies. I live in the United States, where everything is possible. With these advantages, I could do many things, but if I don't do anything, nothing will happen. 2. Let's say I spoke broken English, had no money for private lessons, and had little time. With these restrictions, achieving fluency might seem difficult. However, if I take action and focus, I can still achieve fluency. With similar restrictions, I managed to speak English like a native. It all comes down to focusing on your goal and taking action. The next step will be to follow through on your target, ensuring you keep moving forward. It's not what we're capable of that makes things happen. It's what we will do that makes them happen. When I was 20, I knew I wanted to speak fluent English, so I took action, and it got me the results I wanted. So, if you're serious about reaching your goals, start now. I'll guide you with step-by-step instructions on what actions to take. Step 3. Follow through. Once you've set your goal and started taking action, keep at it. Achieving fluency is like building any other skill. It takes persistence, daily effort, and commitment. Think of it like building physical strength. If you want to lift 300 pounds, you don't start there. You start small, maybe lifting just 3 pounds, and you keep adding a little more each day. Eventually, what once seemed impossible becomes achievable. When I worked on my English, I started with small actions and built up day by day. After 3 months, people noticed my improvement. After 6 months, I was speaking fluently. If you improve by just 1% a day, imagine where you'll be in 6 months. The My Fluent English formula has 3 simple steps. 1. Set your goal. 2. Take action. 3. Follow through. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing. The one-word secret: practice. Knowing how to speak English isn't enough to make you fluent. Like learning Kung Fu, you need to train your body and mind. Watching Kung Fu movies or even knowing the techniques doesn't prepare you for real action. You need muscle, focus, and precision. To speak fluent English, you need to practice regularly. Open your throat, relax your tongue, and let the words flow. Your mind and body need to work together in unison. Practice is essential. There are so many opportunities to do this, especially in today's world. Use any chance you have to speak. If you commute by train, use the time to practice. A loud environment can be helpful. You can practice speaking out loud without drawing too much attention. If your train is quieter, use your cell phone, put on headphones, and pretend to have a phone conversation. The person next to you will likely think you're on a call. By consistently practicing, even in small ways, you'll gradually build the fluency you aim for. Practice opportunities, making the most of your surroundings. When it comes to fluency, practice is key, and there are so many places to do it. Here are some ideal spots to maximize your language practice in daily life. On the bus environment is usually calm, making it a perfect place to practice speaking naturally. Avoid whispering, as it won't fully engage your throat, diaphragm, and airflow. Try to speak as you would in a regular conversation. Speaking quietly can still be effective as long as you're using proper technique. In the car, this is one of the best places to practice out loud. Here, you can really go all in, match the tones, speed, expressions, and flow of native speakers. With no one around to hear you, it's a private setting to practice with total freedom. Just remember, focus on going full speed with your speaking, not your driving. At home while cooking, if you cook, it's a fantastic time to practice. Your brain is free, making it a great opportunity to put on headphones and repeat phrases, sentences, or passages out loud. During outdoor activities like running, jogging, walking, hiking, and even shopping are great times to practice. As you're moving, keep repeating phrases or even talking out loud in English. Movement helps some people retain language even better. At work if possible, if you have a noisy workplace where no one can hear you, or if you use headphones, take advantage of it. When I worked in a noisy factory, I'd wear my noise-canceling headphones and practice speaking loudly no one could hear me. Consider how you might do the same at your workplace. Choosing the right materials. Consistency is key. The materials you choose have a huge impact on how you sound. Are you aiming to sound British or American? Each has its unique sounds and expressions, so pick one and stick with it until you're fluent. Don't mix British and American pronunciation when you're starting out. It will affect your fluency. Picture this as choosing between two boats heading in different directions. Once you're comfortably fluent in one accent, you can start exploring the other. By following these steps and finding ways to incorporate English practice into your daily life, you'll see impressive progress. To sound like a native English speaker, it's crucial to be strategic and focused with your practice. 1. Choose your accent. Decide whether you want to master British or American English. By focusing on one accent, you'll develop a clear, authentic sound. As Bruce Lee wisely said, a focused approach is much stronger and more effective than a scattered one. Take a few seconds to decide, and then commit to your choice. 2. Select real-life materials by native speakers. The materials you use shape how naturally you speak. Look for recordings, shows, or conversations where native speakers talk in real-life, casual ways. Many older language learning resources teach overly formal dialogues that don't reflect everyday language. For example, instead of a stiff introduction like "How do you do? It's my pleasure to meet you," native speakers are more likely to say, "Hey, how's it going?" or "Nice to meet you." Aim to learn expressions and phrases that people actually use in their day-to-day lives. 3. Stick to one accent. Once you choose either British or American English, gather all your materials in that one accent. Mixing accents early on can be confusing and slow your progress. You'll understand both accents better in time, but until you feel fluent, focus on mastering one. Think of it like choosing your boat. Once you've chosen, stay on that path. 4. Use accessible tools. You don't need expensive equipment. With a cell phone, cheap headphones, or even an MP3 player, you can practice anywhere. If you drive, connect your phone to your car speakers via Bluetooth and practice as you listen. By sticking with a single accent, choosing real-life conversational materials, and using accessible tools, you'll create a strong foundation for sounding natural and confident in English. Practicing without headphones, or with a regular pair, can actually improve your speaking abilities. Being able to hear yourself clearly helps you adjust your pronunciation and flow. Nature has given us two key motivators, pain and pleasure. They guide our actions, defining what we should and will do. With these motivators, let's dive into how you can speak English like a native. Let's go over my fluent English formula, which consists of 3 steps. Step 1. Set your goal. If there's only one thing to take from this book, it's this: setting a powerful goal is essential. A strong, clear goal will ignite your drive to achieve native-level English fluency. Your goal should push you forward with determination, a goal that lights a fire to motivate you daily. There are 2 effective ways to set such a goal: inspiration and desperation. For me, it was easy. The options ahead weren't appealing if I didn't improve my English. I could see a future of limited opportunities, possibly working in labor-intensive jobs for life. Desperation was my driving force. I wanted something better. Improving my English opened doors to office jobs and a more comfortable life. Consider what inspires or pushes you forward. Here are some examples. Inspiration. If someone like Ken, who started learning English late and had limited schooling, can become fluent, then so can I. Ken's progress shows it's possible for anyone, including me. I'm ready to take action now. Desperation. If I keep speaking broken English, I may be stuck in low-paying jobs forever. But if I speak like a native, I'll have better career opportunities and a better quality of life. Without fluent English, my dream job remains out of reach. But with it, I can earn more, live comfortably, and achieve the lifestyle I want. For desperation, combine 2 elements. 1. The pain you'll face if you don't improve your English. 2. The pleasure and rewards that await if you do. Step 2. Take action. After setting your goal, it's time to act on it. Taking action is the difference between merely dreaming of fluency and achieving it. I started with small daily actions, consistently building my skills over time. Later, I'll guide you through step-by-step actions to help you on this journey. Step 3. Follow through. Keep working toward your goal every day, staying committed to your practice. Building fluency takes time and effort, but the results will be well worth it. Write down your goal. Put your goal in writing and place it where you can see it daily. I wrote my goals on the ceiling above my bed, on my desk, and even in my wallet. Seeing it often reminded me of what I was working toward. This habit of visual reinforcement keeps your motivation alive and strengthens your determination. The key to success. Success depends 80% on your goal and 20% on your efforts. Your goal is your guiding light. Without it, even the best efforts may falter. Set your sights on your goal, and you'll find the paths and tools to get there. A man was fired from his company. So angry and determined, he decided to start his own business to compete with the company that let him go. He set a clear goal, worked tirelessly toward it, and in just a few short years, he surpassed the company that fired him. Today, his company is worth $112 billion. His name? Thomas Watson, and his company is IBM. Another man was fired, but instead of giving up, he set a goal to start his own business. He submitted a business plan to a bank, asking for a $100,000 loan. The bank requested 16 copies of his plan. He excitedly sent them all, only to never hear back. He called the bank, and they told him, "We never wanted to lend you the money. We asked for 16 copies just to show our employees how bad a plan can be." Undeterred, he tried 8 more banks, and they all turned him down. Finally, on his 9th try, he got the loan. The bank officer told him, "Your plan is bad, but I'm retiring in 2 weeks, so it doesn't matter." Despite all odds, he set up his business with a clear goal, and it was a huge success. He paid back the loan in full and sold his business for $47 million. The company that bought it? W.H. Smith, the same company that had fired him. His name was Tim Waterstone, and the business he built was the British bookstore empire, Waterstones. Let me say this again, if there is only one thing you take from this book, let it be this: the power of setting a goal. If I can do it coming from a humble background and set a goal to speak fluent English like a native, then you can too. Find a reason that pushes you forward. A reason so strong that you must succeed, not just a want, not a need, but a must. Find your reason now. Then, set your goal. Step 2. Take action. To speak English like a native, you need to learn from natives. But how do you do that? Practice, of course. Just like with Kung Fu, where you must practice to become skilled, the same applies to English. Now, let's dive into how you can learn from native speakers. To completely rid yourself of your accent and speak English like a native, you need to take specific action. Here are 9 steps you can follow to master your fluency. 1. Have your MP3 player or cell phone ready. 2. Put on your headphones. 3. Follow the steps that will shape your fluency. Action 1. Listen and repeat. Listen to the native study material and repeat what you hear immediately without delay. When you hear the beginning of a sentence, repeat the beginning. When you hear the middle, repeat that part. When you hear the end, repeat it. Always repeat as soon as you hear it. The key here is not to understand or memorize the content at first. Just repeat what you hear as quickly as possible. Relax and focus on saying the words back without worrying about understanding or remembering them. What you're doing is building fluency naturally. You're training your brain, mouth, tongue, lips, throat, lungs, and even your stomach to speak English without first translating it. If you hear words you don't know how to pronounce or words that are hard to say, that's perfectly fine. Just try your best to say them or make a sound, then move on. Action 2. Repeat the whole material. Once you've repeated parts of the material, now you'll need to listen to and repeat the entire material from start to finish. If you need to pause, that's okay, just make sure to continue from where you left off. This helps you build fluency and practice speaking whole sentences instead of just individual words. If you struggle with a part or can't pronounce something correctly, just keep going forward. Remember, don't stop. Just keep moving toward the end. Action 3. Record your voice. This step is crucial, don't skip it. You're going to record your voice as you repeat the material. Put on your headphones so you can hear the native material clearly. Then, use a recording device like your phone or computer to record yourself repeating everything. Focus on saying the entire material from beginning to end, making noise for the parts you don't know how to say. It's okay if you make mistakes, just keep going forward until the end. Once done, save your recording. You'll listen to it later. Action 4. Repeat the material again. Now, for the third time, listen to and repeat the material from start to finish. You're reinforcing your flow and making sure you can smoothly repeat the full sentences. Again, say what you can and make noise for the parts you can't yet pronounce. Keep going until the end. Action 5. Focus on the hard words. Now that you've repeated the entire material, go back to the words you struggled with. Listen to them again and try to pronounce them correctly. Repeat as many times as you need. Don't stop until you can say them clearly. Action 6. Ignore the meaning and focus on speaking. At this point, it's time to focus solely on speaking. If you come across words you don't know the meaning of, don't worry about it. Just focus on pronunciation and flow. Ignore the meaning and concentrate on speaking. Avoid translating words into your native language. Learn to speak English naturally. Understanding the meaning will come over time as you continue practicing and speaking. Mastering pronunciation and fluency will help the meaning of the words naturally make sense to you. Action 7. Final repetition. For the final step, repeat the entire material again 3 times. Practice saying what you hear and focus on mimicking the tone, speed, volume, and expressions. Try to replicate everything as closely as possible. Repeat the material 3 times, and once you're comfortable, move on. Action 8. Record your English. Congratulations for getting this far. Now it's time to record your voice again, repeating the same piece of native study material. Take out your recording device and record yourself repeating the very same piece of material you've been practicing. Save your voice file. Now it's time to compare your recordings. Listen to the first recording first, and then listen to the second recording. How do you like your English in the beginning? How do you like your English now? Do you hear any improvement? If you don't hear any improvement, that's fine. This piece of native study material may not be a good fit for you, or you may be too good for this piece of material. Let's move on. Action 9. Improvement. If you do hear improvement, congratulations. You are speaking better than before. Let's do even better than that. Is your English as good as the speakers? If your English is as good as the speakers, good job. You are beginning to speak like a native. Keep up the good work. Now, let's take action 9. Find a different piece of material and repeat actions 1 to 8. First, rate this native study material. Choose one of the following options. 1. Too slow. 2. Just right. 3. Too fast. If you chose 3 too fast, congratulations, that's very normal. If the material is too fast, find a different piece of native study material at a slower speed. Use this new material and repeat actions 1 to 8 again. If you chose to just right, congratulations, you're almost there. You're speaking like a native soon. Keep using the same material at the same speed and continue practicing with actions 1 to 8. If you chose 1 to slow, congratulations, your English speed is already very good. Unless you want to speak faster than an average native speaker, go back to the just right option. Find new material at a similar speed and repeat actions 1 to 8. If you want to speak faster than the average native English speaker, choose a different native study material at an ultra-fast speed. Use the new material and continue practicing with the same steps 1 to 8. Let's move on to step 3. Follow through. Keep practicing. Step 2. Keep taking actions 1 to 8. This is how you follow through and achieve the results you've been waiting for. Once a month, return to the materials you've previously practiced and go through them again. This helps with retention, allowing your brain to naturally memorize them and your body to reproduce them more effortlessly. Here's something exciting. By taking actions 1 to 8, your brain will automatically process the pronunciation, grammar, sentence flow, speed, tone, vocabulary, and everything you need to speak like a native. As a result, you'll know exactly how to pronounce English words correctly, when to pause, when to speak louder or softer, and when to speed up or slow down. You'll speak just like a native speaker. This step is about persistence. Keep building on what you've been working on to achieve your goal. And remember, keep an open throat. If you follow through, you will get there. Fun fact: only 1% of people who buy instructional books actually follow the instructions and succeed. The other 99% will put the books aside, look for new ones, or do nothing, never reaching their goal. That's why, out of 100 people who want to speak English like a native, only 1 will succeed. So, ask yourself, will you be in the 99% who give up, or in the 1% who follow the instructions and achieve their dream of speaking English like a native? How much you succeed depends on you. By following the step-by-step instructions in this book, you'll start on the right path. But persistence is key to achieving success. Give yourself the chance to succeed by taking action and giving yourself time. Now, follow my proven English fluency formula and take action to get the results you want. The key is to start today, right now. Copy my formula and follow the same process I did. Start small and build gradually. Can you lift 100 kilograms? It's too heavy for most people. But can you lift 2 kilograms? Yes, you can. Start with 2 kilograms today, 3 kilograms tomorrow, and keep increasing. Just like building muscle, with consistent effort, you'll soon be able to lift the weight that once seemed impossible. If a country boy, a middle school dropout with no special talent, can learn to speak English like a native, so can you. Take action now and keep building. Remember, I can lead a horse to water, but it's up to the horse to drink. I can show you the door to speaking English like a native, but it's up to you to walk through it. Go ahead and take that step. The choice is yours.